Welcome back, everyone. I am back once again after being ill once again. I know times are a bit crazy. I did a community post explaining as to why there were no videos and as to why videos now are also very scarce. Because, well, I was away, then I was ill, now I'm like fine again, but I will be leaving tomorrow for vacation for 10 days. So obviously I won't be recording any videos then. I am like trying right now to pre-record a few videos. Let's see how many I will be able to get out. 2 or 3. So that there's at least something going on the channel. So I guess sorry for that, but I didn't decide to fall ill. As you can hear, I'm also still not completely healthy again, but it is what it is. But anyway, League has started, as you might have heard somewhere. Definitely not on my channel because I was ill. But I haven't played my games yet, and it will be rough because, I'm away, and I obviously also won't be playing. So I will be very washed, and I haven't played in the last weeks as well. And my group is kind of rough. Snow Wolfie is from Division 1, came down to Division 2, and then KriTik is also very good. But Kamal is someone who went up from Division 3, so yeah, we will see how it goes. But either way, I haven't played my games, but I am bringing you another cast, as you can see. And I decided to cast a Division 4 game because, well, why not? There have been a few Division 2 and Division 1 games already, but Protoss has casted them as already, first of all, and second of all, I kind of wanted to shine a light on the lower leagues again. Firstly, because we don't see them that often, and second of all, because like the meta is so stale anyway that the top divisions, so Division 1 and 2, and even to a certain degree Division 3, are all very similar. And I wanted to see what's going on in the lower leagues. Maybe they're doing some more crazy stuff or something. And here we have KriTik versus WARNO's Angel. I would just say KriTik and Angel. On the left, we have KriTik playing as First UK with a fairly interesting deck, in my opinion. Not taking any chieftains is an interesting choice. I mean, the Challenger Mach 2 is very strong now. It's a little bit overpowered, I think, with the extra veterancy or availability, depending on what you want to take. But the Chieftain Mark 9 specifically, a double vet, can be very strong early on. So I'm not sure that this is a great idea to not have them. And also no ATGM carriers in the tank type, also a bit weird. I don't think you need actually that many Challenger Mach 2s. But we will see. Infantry tab, kind of okay. Don't think I would take the ATGMs upvetted, but especially if you don't even have the ATGMs in the tank type, that's a little bit risky. Forward deployed infantry is fine. My opinion, that is a choice that you can make, but you have to play around it. And we can see he's already deploying them, so he's doing a great job there. Maybe too few appliques because they are like extremely strong. One of the strongest IFVs in the whole game. So only having so few of them is a little bit concerning, but it is what it is. All the other tabs are pretty much fine. Upvetted M109s is like, it's okay. And the double vet manpads, it's manpads by the way, singular, not manpad, even though Eugen also does it wrong. Manpads is an abbreviation for Man Portable Air Defense System. The S is part of the abbreviation. It's manpads, and the plural would be manpads, I guess. So it's manpads. Don't get fooled, even though Eugen themselves don't even know what the fuck they're talking about. Does it matter? No, I'm still gonna complain about it. So yeah, he takes the javelins double vet. I just like to have more manpads because like they aren't really for, I guess obviously you want to hit them to hit, but in general you want to like saturate an area with manpads rather than have like a few high vet. But then on the other hand, the double vet javelins are very strong. Like they have a pretty high accuracy, so maybe he's cooking. Yeah, but as I said, overall, pretty solid deck, I would say. On the other hand, we have Angel playing 79 yeah. his deck is also a bit. It's like fine, but it's a bit weird, and some things could be adjusted, in my opinion, at least. Like his AA type is Giga stacked, which makes sense against first UK. That's, I think, a decent idea. Because even now, after the nerfs, first UK still has an absolutely fantastic air type. The problem is that, like, 79 year gets so many cheap air AA slots that you should at least up with some of them. And also no manpads at all, so he has pretty much no cheap and fast AA. Like the Stellar 10Ms are cheap, but they take quite long to get to the front line. And as I said, nothing is upvetted. He just has so much AA that he won't be able to have it in the field. So rather just upvet them. Like double vet OSAs are absolutely viable. And single vet Stellar 10M if you have that much AA either way. I wouldn't upvet the Coops because I think Coops are more for, forcing back the enemy rather than actually hitting them consistently. That's more like for the OSA. That's why I would then, take zero vet Coops, double vet OSAs, for example. And then also, Tunguska, OSA, Coop, and Stellar 10M is a bit of an overkill, I think. Other than that, it seems fine. Infantry tab, also a little bit weird with the, taking Motostrelki in the BMP1 PG and then not taking the Motostrelki with the RPG 22 would be the BMP2s, which, cost you 5 points less. Yes, sure, they have obviously the worst RPG, but you get a BMP2 factually for 5 points less. That's very worth it. And it's even a BMP2 D, which has a little bit more side armor. So I'm not sure this is a great idea. Like the BMP1 PG, I see what the logic is, I guess. I mean, that's at least what I think, that it's basically a cheap BMP2 alternative, but because it's missing smoke, it's just so much worse. And it also has the worst ITGM. So it's like, it makes sense in divisions that don't have access to the BMP2, but you have more than enough BMP2s in 79th. So I'm not sure this is a good idea. Also, the BRM1 in the recon tab is a bit of a mistake. Yeah, I would say so. But then overall, the tank tab is fine. Like double vet ICGs definitely make sense. I'm trying right now to run the deck without any BVs and have the ICGs only in single vet, so that I rely only on them. But not sure. Zero vet TO55s is kind of missing the point, because you want to have them double vet so they are actually very efficient, because at zero vet those are very shit. But yeah, let's see. I didn't even talk about the deployment specifically. So yeah, KriTik did deploy with this Terrier Paras with the Kyle Gustav very aggressively. Also the forward deploy command giving him an early tick, which is I think this is a very good idea, specifically on death row, because the points here are worth so many points. Very light deployment on the bottom side. Angel could actually try doing something here, but also there are very limited offensive capabilities from him. KriTik taking his sector early on, in the center. Oh, AC-22 unfortunately dropped a little bit too far to the back, but a good idea to call this in early on to bomb the infantry. Yeah, I said, missed it a little bit, and also, the Spetsnaz not in the building. Probably has auto cover turned off. I mean, in this case, it works because he can kill the Terrier Paras off here, and is in cover from the Warrior Bleak, so this is low-key genius. I'm not sure whether this was on purpose or not. Well, okay, now he's gonna get deleted by the Warrior. The Terrier Paras on the top are very much isolated. Mina 2 also dying, so yeah, they're pretty much toast. Very heavy deployment into this area by Angel, with all of those Motostrelki and the BMP1s and the TO55s as support. But obviously the light deployment into Echo really coming back to bite him. Goes in with a second SO-24, but he's bombing the Challenger. Well, he does get the infantry, but doesn't do anything to the Challenger, and then it dies and gets down by the tracked Rapier. So that's kind of unlucky, actually. Should have really microed to go out to the right side. I didn't pay attention. I would guess he has a Winchester evac on, which makes sense if you are, still in the lower leagues and don't have the APM. Obviously, it's better to have the Winchester evac on. But in this case, it really fucked him over, because if he would have gone to the right, he would have been perfectly safe. Like this track rapier would have been able to shoot, but this one would have been most likely not even been able to get a shot off, and even if the shot would have missed most likely. But yeah, so this sector is completely lost. But on the other hand, he has complete control over his, like Angel has complete control over Alpha, which is supposed to be his sector. And KriTik has the bad side, so he has a hard time contesting this sector, but he did the good thing, and because he pushed Angel out of Echo completely, he doesn't need to contest Alpha for the moment. So even if Angel captures it, they are even. Because normally the problem is that like you can't contest, like KriTik from KriTik's side, you can't contest Alpha, but Angel's side can contest Echo. But obviously if you push them out of Echo completely, this problem doesn't really present itself anymore. So yeah, definitely well done. The Challenger Mark II is still alive. Warrior Applique as well. Infantry is a little bit light on infantry. Only the Terra Para Carl Gustav on the front line actually, and together with the 1 Scout's Law. More infantry is on its way though. And Angel unfortunately not using his advantage here at all, because he also can't really use it. Doesn't have any infantry ATGMs here, which would be really useful. Like if he had a Conquerors here, he could already start opening fire on the Challenger Mark II. BRDM dies on the bottom side. That's a little bit unfortunate. It trades with the Scimitar, but still unfortunate loss. SU-22 cluster comes in, kills the Challenger Mark II. Very nice kill actually. And gets out alive. Gets hit once though. It's a bit unfortunate. Also, Angel went with a very light air tap, which I think is a bit of a mistake. Because the big weakness of 79th, yeah, is obviously their, of 1st UK, sorry, is obviously their very lackluster air defense. They have good fighters, but they're very expensive. So you can try to air bully them. As you can see, Angel is trying to do that, but he doesn't have the air tap to do that, or to keep it up, rather. And also, if you want to keep up the air bully, you would want to actually target the AA. Because the tracked rapiers obviously can't shoot on the move, so if you target them with planes, your enemy kind of has to decide whether he wants to try to shoot you down, but then loses the APs in the process, or evade, which then he could still lose his APs, especially against the SU-24 cluster, which have like an insane spread, but he won't be able to shoot, and then he could still lose it in the process. So put him under pressure. But if you just go in and bomb the tanks one by one, this can work, but like just by the laws of mathematics, at some point the RNG will turn against you. Also, another TO-55 coming in. That's a mistake, because like it's not much it can do here. There's 1 Terrier Para and that's it. And also more BMP-1s. They're just not really good in this engagement, because the BMP-2 is just way better. Like the BMP-1 is kind of similar in the anti-infantry capability, but significantly worse anti-vehicle capability, because as I said, worse ATGM and no smoke is very, very bad. Challenger Mark III here, a little bit of a misbuy, because you just have like a 260 point unit just sitting here. I also didn't know, I thought it was more than 260 points. Jesus Christ. You can buy 1 of those a minute. That's insane. But yeah, still, there's a giga expensive tank that's just sitting here doing nothing. Now going over to engage the BMP-1s. And yeah, you can see the Warrior Applique killing 2 of them. If there would have been BMP-2s, they could have at least gone toe-to-toe with their autocannons, but here you're kind of just, throwing the dice on if the BMP-1 gun will hit or not, and it isn't really that good. Another SU-22 goes down. Oh no. That's both of the SU-24 HEs now dead. That's very bad. And KriTik is retaking this position. Like, Angel should have really taken the time he had here. There was a very few minutes, a very long time, where KriTik had nothing here, and Angel should have taken this time to take position in those forests, so that KriTik should have been grinding through those forests to get back to the sector, but now he doesn't have to do that, and he's already back in the sector, though the Para leader is pretty exposed. Also could have put it in the forests here. I think those provide cover, or use the smoke at least, so that doesn't get shot at all the time. But yeah, KriTik really starting to spam the warriors, and as I said, the BMP-1s are just not up to the task. Challenger, wasting its potential a little bit, just shooting at infantry here. It is dead, but oh, the BMP-2 it gets a side shot on the Challenger Mark III. Oh, that's very dangerous. That's very dangerous. Doesn't one-shot because it has 8 side armor and era. Very, very strong. Now most likely will lose line of sight before the Conqueror sits, so the Challenger Mark III does survive. That's very important. That could have ended a lot worse. Yeah, one advantage of Challenger is that I know always when people were coping about the British always got ignored that they just have Giga armor, which is very useful. Especially with the Mark IIIs where you have good armor and the arrow on top and then also a good gun. Okay, yeah, it has lower rate of fire, but who cares? You get one of those per minute and those are just insane damage sponges. But it drives him forward again and it gets sideshot again. Oh no, he didn't micro it. That's kind of bad, losing a Challenger Mark III. But on the other hand, Angel is just losing his infantry all over the place to autocannons without getting anything out of it. He also doesn't have any recon here. It has the Motorosvedka there, and then the Motorosvedka here. But a significant lack of, especially the Svetsnas GRU, which would provide very important exceptional recon information here. TADB. Well, I mean, the TADB would be very good against, like, the Chieftains, for example. Against the Challengers, it's like, I guess it's still okay. But you obviously still want the IZD, and yeah, there it is. IZD coming in, double vet, absolute monster. Yeah, that's the right thing. You don't want to drive through here showing your side armor. That would be very, very bad. So yeah, well done. Second command is coming in to contest this sector, but I mean, this road here, like the road is taking here, is definitely not a good idea. And in general, like, you can't contest anything here because you've lost all your infantry here. He's also lost all his infantry on the top. The Razvedka Saperi here are in a little bit of a useless spot, but they also can't do anything because they don't have any AT up with them. And now he has a Grud, but he's firing it from the back. Oh no, that's such a waste. Oh yeah, that's... I forgot to say that. That's one big mistake of Angel's deck building. He has like a lot of artillery, but then only 2 cards of supply. Like he has 4 Acacias and a Grud, and 2 cards of supply. That makes no sense. Like, a Grud and 2 Acacias and 2 cards of supply is already a little bit ambitious. Yeah, and here, by the way, just driving in and dying, that was a complete waste. But yeah, with a Grud and 4 Acacias, that just doesn't work. And then also, you want to get the Grud as close to the front line as possible. Gruds in general are pretty useless anyway right now in 1v1. Well, they're not worthless, they're just not really useful because they don't have that much damage output anymore. And you only get one of them and you can't even upvet them to have one upvetted. And at this range, you can see like the missiles, the rockets literally didn't do anything. He also didn't target it perfectly, but still, both of those squads that were already low survived. So that's very bad. S-54 cluster comes in, but it... Oh no, it missed and then it went down. Yeah, I think those clusters, you need to use them while you're engaging with your enemy, with the tanks, and then also put him under pressure, because otherwise they can micro away from them, and especially in this case they were also in the open. If tanks are in a forest, they are in a very bad spot against the cluster because they're very slow to dodge, but in the open it's fine, especially if you just right-click it on the tanks. You can see he was driving, like KriTik was driving back, so the S-24 was aiming into the path, and then once it dropped, he just stopped and drove them forward again, so it pre-aimed in the completely wrong spot, and then it also got sniped. So that's 3 of the 4 S-24s already shot down. And all this time, like, KriTik has almost 400 points already, so KriTik is very much ahead. TADB here got very low. Supply is coming in. That's good. Also resupplying the Grud, but so far in the back. No. You need to put your Gruds or like your artillery way further closer to the front lines. Yeah, there's just so many units now from KriTik. Where are all the units from Angel? I mean, he lost a lot of infantry, but KriTik also lost a bunch of infantry early on, I guess, but... to be fair, Angel then also lost all of his BMP-1s, because as I said, they're just very not that good, and then also the command and everything, so yeah, pretty painful losses. Bottom side, funnily enough, nothing going on there until now. Now both of them are reinforcing the bottom side with more units. Pulimechiki and BMP2s are a little bit of a weird choice in my opinion, because in the BMP2 they're not even that much cheaper. I'd like to take Pulimechiki sometimes just in trucks, so that they have some cheap, quick infantry, but in BMP2s it's a bit... I don't know what the point is there. And you get enough BMP2s either way, so you don't need to, you know, take the Purimechi as a means to get more BMP2s out of the deck. And oh no, okay, he had lost them in time. If they would have driven down this lane, that could have been very dangerous. So I guess he has auto cover on because they were walking towards the... Oh no, don't right-click the Challenger, please. No. Yeah, okay. That would have been a very bad idea. He would have lost all of those units. BMP2s do retreat. I mean, the BMP2s on their own won't do much here. You need to use the BMP2s in conjunction with your T80s. So that you create a target-rich environment where your enemy tanks can't, like, engage everything at once. And then also the BMP2s can survive a tank shot, as you can see. Well, obviously not 2. And then together with the T80s, you can really put pressure on your enemy. And especially if you only have 2 cards of supply, you really need to turn off the refueling. Otherwise, you will just waste so much supply. Yeah, the Motor Circuit here just stand no chance. KriTik also has Recon up. At least here's a Scout Slow 80, Scimitar. Also no SAS. The GSR Recon. Why aren't they using that? Like, both of them are using their Exceptional Recon for some reason. Even though, like, Exceptional Recon is like... It's not just, you know, one step ahead. It's like extreme, like, or like, not extremely, but a lot better than very good Recon. You really need to use it. Seed comes in, but didn't find the coup. I didn't pay attention if he microed or not, and then gets instantly retweeted. Oh, that didn't do much. It didn't get damaged though, so it can be back a lot like very soon again. Grad does fire, and then once again look at this. It killed one squad that was like at 1 HP, and the command still survived. Like, you need to get this closer to you. Can't. It makes no sense at shooting it so far from the back. The only thing where it kind of maybe makes sense is with the Napalm RM70 from 9th Panzer. And then also the Napalm Grad, I guess, from KDA, though I haven't seen this in a long time in 1v1. Because they just, obviously, they do damage over time with the Napalm on the ground. But even there, you want to get it closer to your front line. Yeah, well, sending the BMP2s forward first, that's not a good idea. You want to have the infantry in front of them to screen the BMP2s, and then have the BMP2s behind as a fire support, because now they would just get wrecked by the... Well, it's only loss, so they probably won't get wrecked. But especially against the British, you have to watch out. Because, yeah, well, the scouts had low 80s, and then also he could have the rifles that have the low 80s. And those, I'm pretty sure they can one-shot, yeah, they can one-shot you from the front even. But yeah, BMP2s both going down. I mean, the scouts went down, and the para command on the top did go down finally against the TO-55. Even up, vetted up. But yeah, with the warriors here everywhere. Oh, SP-22 cluster comes in. Oh, this could be a juicy strike. This could be a very juicy strike. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, it does go down in return, but this was a strike that's absolutely worth your plane. Like killing a Challenger Mark 3, Challenger Mark 2, and a tracked Rapier. Absolutely fine. But the problem is that was his last cluster. Yeah. The SP-24, I don't know whether I said SP-22 again. Sorry for that. But yeah, this was a godlike strike from the SP-24. As I said, tanks in the forest, can't dodge in time. Fantastic. Also, no tornado fighter up from KriTik. As first UK, you kind of always want to have a tornado loitering in the back. But yeah, I just think that KriTik has amassed such a big amount of units that even this catastrophic loss isn't even actually catastrophic, because look at what's on the ground. And then also, now buying into Akatsias and also keeping them so far in the back, that's not the play here, man. You need more stuff on the front line, and then the Grad is just going for an empty field here. Oh no, that's really looking bad. Tornado did get the coup. Actually did get hit by the coup in return as well, funnily enough. Let's go out again. KriTik hasn't even used a single one of his bombers, I think. Interestingly enough. Even though, to be fair, yeah, well, 79th has an extremely strong air type and also a good fighter in the MiG-29, so maybe that's part of the strategy. I mean, he still has the planes in the air type. And now they're just kind of sitting there. I mean, KriTik doesn't need to attack. He's now almost 600 points ahead. Has traded extremely favorably. The T-80s, I think all of them are still alive. He hasn't lost a single one of them. He might have lost a T-80B up there, maybe? Not sure, though. T-80BVK coming in. Well, I guess he wants to go into this zone. I mean, that would make sense because he has the BRDM2 in the other zone. But, I mean, the Grad here would have been very nice. And even then, I mean, the Grad can still be used as a suppression tool, but then you need to use it in conjunction with your units. So that you kind of just use it to saturate an area. Won't be doing damage. But you suppress the enemy, and then you attack. So that the enemy is very stunned up already, and then he either has to fight your tanks while already being on low cohesion, or he has to retreat. So you can take up favorable positions for your ATGMs or your tanks or whatever. That can work. But with how he has been using it, that's not the play. And then also now it only has like 19 rockets left. It's not missiles. Missiles are guided. Rockets are unguided. So those are rockets. 19 rockets left. I mean, the targeting here isn't bad, but again, range, just no. I have said it in more than enough times already, but yeah, you need to get closer. Targeting it as well with the... I mean, look at the massive spread of the Akatas at this range. They should be even within corrected shot range of the Saperi, I guess. Well, look at the circle here. I mean, it should be. It's still so large. Jesus Christ. I mean, that's hilariously bad. Grad will soon fire, I guess. Yeah, their Katsias are already firing, but they won't be doing anything at this range. Unless they get a very lucky shot. Like 2 or 3 lucky shots on the power leader. Yeah, this was like a semi-lucky shot. Grad is firing. But, oh, well, there was a lucky hit. Well, maybe he does actually get a kill here. Let's see. No. He does not get a lucky kill. And now another supply to resupply the Grad, but yeah, I don't like that. It's just looking very bad, and now KriTik is taking it at +2. There has been just a massive overinvestment in artillery by Angel. Jesus Christ, he's now just spamming TO-55s. But he has literally no infantry left on the field. Except for, like, okay, the bottom side, there's like a few infantry squads here. But then other than that, he has literally one Motrosvedka, and that's it. Oh, well, the Great Launcher is also an infantry squad, technically speaking, I guess. The Rapira could be counted as semi-infantry, maybe. But yeah, that's not the play, man. That's no. You need your infantry. Yeah, there it is, but it's a little bit late now, and there's only 20 minutes left and 19 minutes left in the game even. And counter-battering the mortar, very nice. That's a very good idea. But again, the Akatas are so far away, they will most likely not even get it. And yeah, the mortar here is obviously a mechanized one. Or, I guess, no, it's mechanized, it's not motorized. It's tracked. Yeah, they won't be doing anything. If those Akatas wouldn't have been here, but like, you know, here or something, or here, or whatever, they could have gotten the kill. Because also then the travel time of the shells is obviously also lower, which kind of gets forgotten when you talk about artillery. That's a very big advantage as well of driving closer to your front line, you know. Your shells don't have to travel as far, giving your enemy much less time to react. And now he's just... I mean, Angel is just sitting here, and that's pretty much all he can do, because he's just been throwing away his infantry all the time. Okay, 2 recon helicopters next to each other here. I guess maybe a misclick. Because there's not much sense in doing that. And yeah, I mean, there's also not much he can do in the bottom side, because KriTik has reinforced it. I mean, he could obviously overwhelm the bottom side, but he has all of his heavy tanks in the center. Now TO-55s driving in on their own. Well, I mean, the TADBVK is also here, but they aren't really in a position to support each other because the TO-55s are stuck in the center. The TO-55s should be here, with some infantry screening going up in front of them, and then the TO-55s behind them going up the ridge. Then they could be completely shredding this infantry here, and this would stand no chance. But here, they're now stuck in the open. They will get hit by several ATGMs from several angles. ADBVK has to retreat because it's heavily damaged already. I think the Grad has fired again and done literally nothing. Yeah, now the ADBVK will most likely even die as well. Yeah, it even dies to the Warrior Oblique. Oh no. Challenger Mark II finishing off the TO-55s together with the Milan 2s. Yeah, this game is absolutely over. TO-55s obviously aren't really expensive, but there were like, what was there, 6 or 7 of them coming in, and then they're all dead, and the TADBVK as well, and this one is pretty expensive. I don't know what it is. And they're buying a third Akacia. No, man, you don't need more Akacias. You need more infantry on the front line. And more heavy tanks, and then using them together and not piecemeal. No, this is really like one of the biggest mistakes of the lower league players, that you see them trickling in units. You can see it trickled in the TO55s, and then the infantry was coming in. But now the TO55s are all dead before the infantry was even at the front. You want to use all those units at the same time. Like, keep the tanks somewhere in the back waiting until your infantry is there, and then attack with all of them together. Because there you can see, like, there's no point in this. He just lost all of his tanks for literally nothing. And now his TADB is being targeted by the M109. It's really nice, by the way, upbetting them to double bet. That makes them really good, actually. Yeah, that's very well done by KriTik. TADB might even die. Yeah, it even dies to M109, so no. And you can see, yeah, double vet, M109s, close to the front line. Instantly got more value than the 3 Akacias and the 1 Grad have gotten in, like, how long have they been on the field? For like 10 or 15 minutes. Yeah, that does do a lot. Artillery also, like, gets a better dispersion with veterancy, though that doesn't actually help that much. By the way, don't attack move your artillery. I guess maybe it has right click auto set to like attack move or something, but no, if you want to move around your artillery, never put them on attack move. It's not like it's gonna do much either way, but like, it's not gonna help you in most cases, and in a few fringe cases it will actually prevent them from moving away from danger, for example, so never do that. Tornado cluster coming in, but didn't drop his bombs. Oh no. But AA didn't hit it, MiG-29, they also missed both his long-range rockets. Missiles, those are missiles, of course, they're guided. Triple Akacia coming in, they do kill a recon squad here. Might also maybe kill the Warrior League or the Challenger. I mean, yeah, well, triple Akacias will obviously even do damage at range, but, double Akacia would have done even more damage if they would have just been close to the front line. Now bringing in both the Mi-24s, but yeah, this is really now a buy, like a desperation buy-in. Also, keeping both of them so close together, really not that good. Might get a Warrior kill, or no, line of sight in time. But they might kill this one. Or a hit on the Challenger, or something, maybe. I think it did get a hit on the Challenger. Tornado and MiG-29 both hit each other, but don't kill each other. But the A does finish off the Tornado. Oh, well, that's something. But yeah, we still just have the problem of Angel just massively lacking troops on the ground. If KriTik would know that, he would literally just roll over him, and there's nothing Angel could do against that. Like, if he just takes all those units and drives out here, it's GG. Like, there's nothing to stop him there. Oh no, he didn't turn off the guns of the Tunguska, and it gets killed by the seed. Oh no. Tornado Cluster also kills the Mi-24. Well, the MiG-29 could... Yeah, it does get a kill on the Tornado Cluster. Well, that's at least something. But, yeah, no way. No way. He's just now gonna steamroll over Angel, and there's nothing he can do against that. The ATBV ICD does finally go down. Yeah, there's now 2 TADBVs are coming in, and yeah, Angel does surrender. Very well done by KriTik. That's their rank. Yeah, Angel very low rank, around 6,000, and KriTik around 500. Yeah, there's a big gap between those two players. I think KriTik played more like a Division 3 player, honestly. I almost feel bad for Angel, because KriTik didn't. I mean, he has a little bit of a weird deck build, but nothing too much out of the ordinary, honestly. And especially, there could be a point of saying that you don't really need the chieftains against the T80s. No, I would say it still makes sense, because you want to have the chieftains as some, early pushing power, and that can still be very useful against BMPs and TO55s. But I mean, it did work out in the end, so who am I to judge? Angel had a few good plays, especially with the S-24, but he kind of committed to air spam without having the deck built for air spam, and without enough support for the air spam as well. And then on the ground, just too stretched out. Like, not too stretched out, but too incohesive. Like, calling a bunch of tanks and then a bunch of infantry, and then they all arrive at different times when the other group has already been killed off. So yeah, this didn't work out. But GG to both of them. Also a good play with the Terrier powers early on. Very well done. Did use those forward deployed units well to gain the ground early on, especially exactly how you are supposed to use them. Both of them not using the exceptional recon optics squads too much was a little bit weird, but hey, whatever. As I said, it did work out in the end. Warrior Pleaks just wrecking, especially the BMP ones. They just stand no chance in hell against the Warrior Pleaks. It's not even funny. And this Warrior League just, oh my god, it did so much damage. Jesus Christ. It's just so weird that the British then also get a, good autocannon, even though they had the, worst autocannon ever in the history of, ever. I think literally, a 20mm AA gun from World War II would be better than whatever the garbage is they put into those warriors, the Rarden. And then the Warno is it's actually one of the best autocannons for reasons, but hey, hashtag UK suffers. Herder. It's let's be real, UK is one of the most over buffed factions in the whole game, which is fair in the sense that they obviously need to be useful, but at some point it gets a little bit ridiculous. They should be having one of the best IFVs if, literally the thing they're known for is that they have one of the worst IFVs or one of the worst autocannons. Can't say a lot about the Warrior as a weapon system in general, but considering that the autocannon is one integral part of the weapon system of an IFV, I would assume that it isn't really that great, but whatever. Challengers themselves didn't perform too out of the ordinary, actually. Jesus Christ, both the S-24 sides with the Javelin. Okay, never mind. Double Vet Javelin, he was actually cooking with it. I didn't say anything. It's actually goated, I guess. Seed did perform well, surprisingly enough. And yeah, the M109s. Killing the T-80B, Rapira, and Razetka Saperi, actually, I think that paid themselves off almost. Yeah, on the other side, the Tu-55s actually didn't do too bad, surprisingly enough, even though they were no vet. BMP-1PG, well, as I said, do decent damage against infantry, but then struggle against vehicles, and, well, you're playing against a tank division that has a lot of vehicles. S-24s, unfortunately, yeah, they really didn't perform too well, and then both got shot down, so that was really sad. Grud, just, yeah, I would say just don't even take it, and if you take it, get it closer to the front line. You absolutely have to do it, otherwise it's abysmal dog shit. It's just bad. In team games, I think they're still worth it if you amass them, but not in 1v1. This Tu-55 actually did kill the Warrior Pleak. Interesting. And yeah, this cluster, fantastic drop, but it was the only unit that actually performed well. The other cluster did kill one Challenger, yeah, true, they did kill one Challenger at least, so that was something. And then a Recon BMP-2 that killed the Challenger Mark III, that was nice. But just overall, as I said, units didn't... there was just no combined arms. And get your artillery closer to the front line, I can't stress that enough. Please, if you already have artillery heavy deck, you need to use it well. But yeah, either way, thanks for both of the players. GG, well played. And yeah, hope you enjoyed it. And next game will be game 2 of those two playing against each other. So let's see whether Angel maybe can come back and show us some epic comeback. Or whether KriTik will keep wrecking him. Yeah, as I said, skill level of those players seems to be a little bit too far apart. But well, we will see. Maybe there will be a surprise in game 2. So until then, have a beautiful day. And bye-bye.